All right, well, here we are again. We are doing a book talk for The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. And today I am going to be going over pages 101 to 149. So that's what you've been reading this week. So we kind of started right here on Thanksgiving, which was chapter 14. And he kind of reflects on the idea of Thanksgiving in general and just a little bit of a different perspective than what probably most of us have. He's like, I'm wondering like why we celebrate Thanksgiving. Like he realizes that the Pilgrims and the Indians were friends for that first meal, but then it was like, hey, they tried to kill each other, and they just get a little bit funny with it. And they're like, yeah, well, we should be giving thanks that they didn't kill all of us. Perspective changes how you look at things, right? So it's just something to think about. So he's sitting there, he's having his Thanksgiving meal, and Rowdy usually comes over on Thanksgiving, so it's a little bit sad. Rowdy's not there. So he draws a cartoon because Rowdy likes his cartoon, and he takes it over to the house, and he sees the dad, and the dad, of course, is drunk. And he's like, yeah, no, Rowdy's not here. So he says, could you please just give him this cartoon I drew him? And he says he will. And as Arnold's walking away, he sees Rowdy upstairs in the window. And Rowdy is holding the cartoon. He's looking at it, and he's not tearing it up, so that's a plus. But he does flip him off, which is not a plus. So we don't know if this is moving forward or not. We're not really sure just yet. Then we have this next page. It's called Hunger Pains as we go through this chapter. And this is just Arnold, and he's in school. And this is where he's going to kind of start to form this bond with Penelope, okay? So he's in class, and Mr. Sheridan's talking about the Civil War, and he's being really, really boring. So he does what many of you do during school is say, I have to go to the bathroom. So he goes to the bathroom, right? So while he's in the bathroom and he's thinking about all these wonderful things, he hears someone throwing up in the other room, and he's like, who in the world's throwing up? So he goes to check on them. He's like, hey, you want some help? Someone in the girls' bathroom. So of course he's calling through the wall. Can I help? Do you want anything? No, just go away. So he waits, and she comes out, and it's Penelope. It's Penelope, and she's not anorexic. She says she's bulimic, and she's not bulimic all the time, only when she's throwing up. Interesting. He says there's all kinds of addicts. That's what his dad says. His dad says the same thing about being an alcoholic. He says there's all kinds of addicts, I guess. We all have pain, and we all look for ways to make the pain go away. I think it's interesting that he uses the word we here, because we haven't heard that he's an addict of anything, right? I mean, he's not doing drugs, he's not drinking, he's not throwing up, so he's not doing any of those things. I'm not really sure what he would be addicted to. Yeah, so I didn't think of anything. All I could think of was like his friendship with Rowdy, the fact that he keeps going back to him and wanting him to be his friend. But I don't know if that's really like being an addict. I think that's more just really wanting to have that close-knit friendship with somebody who keeps pushing him away. So anyways, they start talking, and he gives Penelope a little bit of advice, the same advice he gives his dad, which is don't give up, right? Sometimes we just need to hear that. Sometimes that's just something that people need to hear. They need someone to talk to, and that's what happened here. Penelope is like super, super pretty, super popular, and everybody sees her as perfect, and she just feels overwhelmed by this. This is a feeling that's overwhelming her, and she's like, I'm not perfect, and I'm scared, and sometimes I just can't handle it, and this is sort of what she's doing because this is something she does have control over. And so this starts their new friendship with one another. So it does say this, everybody is shocked that Penelope chose me to be her new friend. I'm not some ugly mutated beast, but I'm an absolute stranger at the school, and I'm an Indian. And Penelope's father, Earl, is a racist. That puts a dent in things, right? So Penelope's chosen him to be her boyfriend / not boyfriend, kind of boyfriend. I don't know. We're going to hold hands every now and then kind of a thing. Her father, Earl, hates him, doesn't like Indians, has a lot of nasty things to say to him. It's basically like, don't get too close to my daughter, kind of a thing. But now at school, he's sort of like this new Arnold. Isn't it funny how just being associated with certain people can change the way others look at us? Because Arnold was a nobody. Nobody talked to him. Nobody recognized him. Nothing. Now that he's with Penelope, everybody notices him. Teachers even notice him now, which is really kind of sad that sometimes our associations with other people have to be the reason we're noticed or the reason we're not noticed, right? So associations are interesting. He says, I was new. We have these talks, not too deep, but a little deep sometimes. And the little deep sometimes is that she wants to see the world. She wants to get out of this small town that she's been growing up in. She doesn't think that this is the end all be all. She wants to go to China. She wants to go to Egypt and see the pyramids. Like, she wants to get out there and do things. She wants to make a difference. She wants to go to college, to study architecture. The reason she does is because she wants to build something beautiful because she wants to be remembered. And Arnold says, I couldn't make fun of her for that because that's my dream too. Right? So they have this shared dream. They both still kind of want to, he uses a metaphor, both wanted to fly. And he even draws this picture of a bird who can go far. And he draws this picture of Penelope too. He loves her. Or he thinks he loves her. So that's interesting. That's something that they have together. Penelope, she's beautiful, and he is falling in love with her. And when he watches her play volleyball, all he notices is how beautiful she is. She is just beautiful. He's sort of obsessed with her a little bit because he just likes her. And he just wants to confirm with his friend, like, I'm in love with this white girl. I'm in love with this white girl. He keeps saying that, instead of just saying, I'm in love with this girl, like, I'm in love with this white girl. So what do I do? So he emails Rowdy and is like, hey, so I'm in love with this white girl. What should I do? And Rowdy emails back, I'm sick of Indian guys who treat white women like bowling trophies. Get a life. And he goes to Gordy because he doesn't really get that. He goes to Gordy and he's like, hey, listen, I'm an Indian boy. How do I get the white girl to love me? And Gordy, of course, goes and does research because that's what Gordy does. And he comes back and he says, he read this article, and the guy who read the article says, people care more about beautiful white girls than they do about everybody else on the planet. White girls are privileged. They're damsels in distress. So what does that mean? I asked. I think it just means you're a racist a-hole like everybody else. So he said the same thing Rowdy said. So what is the point here? What do you think they're trying to express in this chapter? So we needed to put that piece in context, what Gordy just said. After he read this article, he read an article about all of these Mexican girls who are disappearing. It actually tells us that, let's see, over 200 Mexican girls disappeared in the last 3 years. One white girl named Cynthia disappeared last summer, and it was all over the newspapers. So that's why he's saying, like, these girls are being put up on a pedestal. White girls are being put on a pedestal. Everyone else is kind of being ignored. Why is this a white thing? It doesn't need to be a white thing or an Indian thing or a Mexican thing. Why can't you just like her because she's a girl? Why does it have to be, how do I get the white girl to like me? I think that that's something worth discussing. I think that's a discussion we should have. And it could be a tough topic to discuss, right? This is something that I liked Rowdy's response where he says, not treating them like bowling trophies, like he's trying to get her in some way, instead of them just both liking one another. It turns out they do both just kind of like one another. So the winter formal comes around, winter formal's happening, and everybody doesn't actually know that Arnold has no money. They think that the government is giving money to Indians all the time. They own these casinos, or they have these casinos, so they're making all this money. So they don't recognize Rowdy's private life. Rowdy's private life is poverty. He does not have a lot of money. And so usually when these games come up, or if a dance comes up, he's like, oh, I'm sick, I can't make it. He always has some sort of excuse, right? Because he doesn't have the money to do it. But this is one that he can't kind of lie his way out of or wiggle his way out of. He has to go to the winter formal. Everyone's going to the winter formal. Penelope expects to go to the winter formal. He obviously can't drive her there. He's got no car, and he lives 22 miles away. So he tells her that he's going to meet her at the gym. She's not happy about it, but okay, that's fine. So they do. They go to this winter formal together, and he shows up in his dad's suit, right? His dad's suit from the 1970s and a polka dot tie and bell bottoms. And I think it's nice the way Penelope reacts, because she's, oh my God, that suit is so beautiful. It's so retroactive. It's so retroactive. It's so retroactive. Like, she's like, you are super, super cool. So her reaction made the night, right? It's okay that he's got on this old polyester bell-bottom suit because she thinks it's retroactive and that he's trying to be really super cool. Works out for him. This is great. They have an awesome night together. He avoids having to purchase the pictures because she forgets all about it because they're having such a good time. So he thinks he's almost scot-free, and then Roger and some other guys are like, hey, we're going to go to Denny's. You guys want to go out to eat? And of course, she wants to go. Her dad says yes. Roger gets them there. He's the driver. He drives him, and, you know, he thinks his life is over. He's like, everyone's going to realize now that I'm dirt poor, so I'm just going to order stuff off of this menu. He orders all sorts of stuff, knowing that he only has $5, not enough money to pay for everything. He goes into the bathroom. He thinks he's going to be sick. Roger comes in. They have a conversation, and they talk about a few things. They mention that he and Penelope are a great couple, and they try to talk about his love life, but he's like, hey, dude, like, draw the line there. I don't talk about that kind of stuff. And he's like, you're right, man. Sorry, it's none of my business. So that was kind of nice. I liked that. And Roger's like, hey, you're going to try out for basketball? You should. And so they're really forming this friendship. Remember, when he and Roger first met, they got in a fight, right? He was picking on him, calling him names. He punched Roger in the face, and now they're like best buddies. So he decides to confide in Roger. He's like, dude, well, he doesn't 100% tell the truth. He's like, I lost my wallet. Man, don't worry about it. Here you go. Here's $40. Arnold is saved, right? So he's able to pay for the meal, and that's that. So he gets out of it. He pays for it. He's going to, when they get back, Roger offers to take him home. He's like, no, my dad's going to come and get me. And if we come over here to this next page, though, he's like, I'll bring Penelope home. Cool. So Penelope and I got out of the car so we could have a private goodbye. She had laser eyes. Roger told me he lent you some money, she said. Yeah, I forgot my wallet. Her laser eyes grew hotter. Arnold, yeah, can I ask you something big? Yeah, I guess. Are you poor? Ooh, couldn't lie anymore. Yes, I said, I'm poor. I figured she was going to march out of my life right then, but she didn't. Instead, she kissed me on the cheek. All right, so it's okay. Like, they're accepting him anyway. So he was so worried about this poverty this whole time that it doesn't even matter to these people. Like, they're okay with it. It's not a big deal, right? So, Roger drives him home now that they've all gotten this out in the open, that the dad's not really coming to pick him up. So now he does not have to walk 22 miles home at 3 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold. Roger's going to give him a ride home, which is kind of nice. He tries out for the basketball team. He makes it. Before he tried out for the basketball team, I'm sorry, here we are with Don't Trust Your Computer. We've got silly Rowdy. Rowdy is, I think, trying to get back into Arnold's life. And you gotta remember, these guys are ninth graders, right? So ninth graders sometimes do stupid things. He sends a picture of his butt, trying to be like he's mooning him, right? So he thinks he's funny. But then this leads to a conversation with Gordy about Indians and the res and how the people on the res feel like he's a traitor, right? He says, I know, but some Indians think you have to act white to make your life better. Some Indians think you become white if you make your life better, if you are successful. And of course, Gordy is super smart, and he's like, well, wouldn't all white people be successful then? Interesting point, right? So there's these stereotypes that go around on the res, and there's stereotypes that go around in the white world, and just don't mesh. And so, you know, he and Gordy are just having this conversation about how a lot of people at home think he's a traitor. They call him an apple. What does it mean to be called an apple? Well, you're an apple because you're red on the outside, meaning Indian, but you're white on the inside, which would mean white, right? So they do think that about him. I think that Gordy in this book occasionally makes some really, really poignant points. He says, well, life is a constant struggle between being an individual and being a member of the community. In the early days of humans, the community was our only protection against predators and against starvation. We survived because we trusted one another. So back in the day, weird people were threatened the strength of the tribe. So if you weren't good for making food, shelter, or babies, you were tossed out on your own. And he says, well, we're not primitive like that anymore. He says, oh, yes, we are. Weird people still get banished. And it's kind of nice because he says, all right, and we've got a tribe of two. Me and you. We're together, Gordy. We're good. And there's no hug, right? He wants to hug him, but they're not going to hug. So they have this deep moment where they kind of talk about, people like to stick together. It kind of goes back in time. If you think about how we were when we were hunters and gatherers, that's what people did to survive. So when someone goes outside the group, it makes them uncomfortable. And that's sort of what's happening here. Sis sends him a letter. Sister writes him. She's like, I'm still looking for a job. They say I don't have any experience, so I can't get a job. It's really kind of tough, but I love my new home. Draws a picture of it. There it is. That's where she's living. And the basketball team tryouts come, right? He makes the team. It's awesome. He falls down a whole bunch. Rogers, he has to play one-on-one with Roger. All sorts of people are getting cut. He does not get cut because he is good. He's actually very good. He's good, a good shooter, right? His dad encourages him to dream big, to try out for this team, and he does, and he makes it, and it's wonderful. Then he, one of their first games is against the high school team on the res, so the school that he was supposed to go to. So he's nervous. They get there. When they get there, the whole team is inside the reservation, the high school there. Arnold sucks. Arnold sucks. Arnold sucks. Oh, this is not making him feel good. It's not making him feel positive. And you know who's on the basketball team, right? Rowdy. Rowdy is on the basketball team. He's the only person who does not turn his back on him when he comes in. I'm not so sure it's a friendly gesture. He wants to kill him in this basketball game. So his team stands behind him. They march in. He gets out on the he gets out there on the court. Someone throws a quarter at him. Now he's bleeding. All right. Well, if you're bleeding, you can't play. So he gets out of the game for a bit. Eugene, remember his dad's best friend, comes in, stitches him up. So he gets to go back out on the court. Gets out on the court. He's jumping into the air. Rowdy smashes his elbow into his head and knocks him unconscious. Didn't see that coming. I thought Rowdy was sort of coming around. Not so much. I mean, Rowdy hurt him. Hits him in the head, knocks him unconscious. Now he's in the hospital. So he has a minor concussion, 3 stitches, and a bruised brain. So he's in the hospital for the night. Coach comes to check on him. He's like, man, we probably shouldn't have played. He's like, no, you know what? I've got determination and willpower. This is what I wanted to do. And so that's why I did it. And he and the coach really bond. They stay up all night long because Arnold is not supposed to fall asleep because he's got a concussion. So they stay up all night telling each other stories, really building that bond between the two of them, which is nice. That is the end of this book talk. Hopefully it helps sum things up for you. And I'll see you for our next book talk. Bye.